Over the past few years, I've been helping men get into the best shape of their lives. Today, I'm going to go over the 3 core fundamental pillars that I believe are pivotal in achieving these physique transformations. So the 3 pillars that I believe are fundamental in achieving any sort of physique transformation is going to be your weight training, your expenditure, which is like your cardio and steps, and your nutrition and diet. If you can nail these 3 variables and stick to them for a sustained period of time, I believe that you can achieve a physique transformation. So let's kick off with weight training. So there are 5 principles that I think are mega important when it comes to building and sculpting a physique with regards to your weight training. So training with intensity is one of the most important principles to building muscle. You need to be providing the muscle with new novel stimulus and a new challenge to cause it to adapt and grow. That comes from training with intensity and training hard, training to a close proximity to failure. Individuals who don't train with much intensity tend to accumulate a lot of junk volume within sessions. So these are like sets where you're just training with no intensity. You're just accumulating fatigue and not really getting any novel adaptations to the muscle. So the next factor is hitting the muscle groups more frequently. The more times you hit a muscle group, the more growth you're going to get. Most people think you only need to be hitting muscle groups once a week, when in reality you can recover 2 to 3 days between each muscle group. So you could be hitting each muscle group 2 or 3 times a week versus once a week. This is just going to allow us to provide better quality work rather than doing maybe all our 15 working sets for a muscle group in one day on like a chest day. We can distribute that across the week and do 3 days where we hit chest and do 5 working sets where we're going to get a better quality from them 5 sets versus doing all 15 on one day. The next principle is progressive overload within your weight training. What this basically means is providing a novel stimulus to your muscle each week. Progressive overload also keeps the training fun and exciting, as well as goal orientated. You need to go in and make sure that you're lifting more weight than you did the week before, improving your range of motion, training with heavier weights or doing more reps. If we do these week on week, we're going to look forward to training, but we're also going to see the rewards in our physique. We're going to be building muscle. And that is the goal, especially when dieting. If we can be in a recomp phase where we're losing body weight and building muscle at the same time, the way we know we're going to be building muscle is if we can see our logbook improving. If we're lifting heavier weights at lighter body weights, then we can be confident that we aren't losing muscle. And the thing with progressive overload, maybe week on week, it doesn't seem like you're getting significantly stronger, maybe a rep here and there, or just adding a 1.25 kilo on each side of a barbell. But if we look at that across maybe a 6-month period, let's say each week you add a rep onto a set, or you add a 1.25 kilo. Across 24 weeks, that could be 24 kilos extra on the bar. So week to week, it might seem like small progressions, but if we look at it over a long period of time, we then really get to see how much you have progressed, versus if we didn't even log the weights, maybe we wouldn't really notice how much stronger we're getting. So another really important principle with our weight training is completing compound movements. And what these are movements where we're working multiple muscle groups in one movement. For example, a deadlift, a squatting pattern, and a press. These are really good movements because they're time efficient. So individuals who maybe only have 45 minutes to train at a gym are better off doing compound exercises because they're going to get more bang for their buck. As well as that, you're going to burn more calories. So if we're in a deficit and we're trying to lose weight and we're looking for as many variables as we can, to lose weight, then doing a compound over in isolation is going to burn more calories, thus putting us in a greater calorie deficit and losing more body fat. As well as this, compounds build a good foundation of your physique. You're never going to see someone bench 3 plates aside, deadlift 4 plates aside, squat 3 plates aside, good range of motion, good depth, and not have legitimate good muscle. So if you can get really strong at these compound movements, it's only going to pay dividends in the long run. Next, we've got form. Form is absolutely pivotal in growing muscle. We want to do that so we're targeting to the correct muscle and providing as much of a stimulus as possible. This is going to allow us to grow as much muscle as possible. As well as that, if you're lifting with bad form, bad tempo, you're not going to be growing muscle, but you're also going to increase the risk of injury. And if you get injured, then completing a physique transformation is very hard. Our next pillar is expenditure. This is with regards to calories burned. These calorie burn are going to help put us in a calorie deficit, which is going to help us lose weight. We do this over a sustained period of time, we'll be losing body fat and getting leaner. So one way to help with expenditure and increase our calories burned in a day is setting daily step goals. Daily step goals are an easy way to create a calorie deficit and expend energy. They allow us to burn more calories and help us build a good routine, as well as the mental health benefits, the recovery and the digestion benefits we get from going on walks after meals. Then we've got cardio. We want to make sure that we do forms of cardio that we enjoy. If we enjoy doing something, we're going to be more consistent. If we're more consistent, then we will get more sustainable results long term. You can be doing any form of cardio. I've had clients like Samir, who I'll pop on the screen now. He got shredded going swimming every day. Then we've got people like Abdul, who are really into their boxing, you know? Then I have people that like playing paddle. As long as you're expending calories and enjoying your form of cardio and can be consistent with it, as long as you are getting your heart rate elevated and getting a good sweat on that, that's the most important thing. We then have NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically all the energy calories we burn doing day-to-day tasks. These can account for burning a lot of calories with minimal fatigue, as well as helping create a larger calorie deficit, thus maybe not having to take away as much food due to having a high NEAT. Then with cardio, we have LISS or HIIT. So low intensity steady state, things like walking, or high intensity interval training, things like circuits. So with LISS, you're going to be having your heart rate slightly lower than at HIIT, but you're going to be able to do it for a more sustained period of time, versus HIIT, your heart rate is going to be a lot higher, but for a shorter period of time. So low intensity steady state cardio is going to be more optimal for muscle recovery and reducing the amount of fatigue accumulated. So this is going to be more optimal for minimizing muscle loss and maximizing recovery in between sessions. However, HIIT on the other hand is going to be more efficient for individuals with a short amount of time. Let's say you've only got 15 minutes a day and you want to burn as many calories as possible. It's better off you doing a HIIT than a low intensity steady state cardio session. One big factor when it comes to cardio is not overdoing it at the beginning and burning yourself out too early on. You've got to think of this as a long journey. If you burn yourself out early on, you're not going to get there in the end. It's better doing it through a sustainable way where we're slowly implementing cardio. It's also going to minimize the amount of muscle loss that occurs during the phase. If we go straight in and throw ourselves in the deep end, we're very likely to incur muscle loss over time, as well as a lot of fatigue accumulating and potentially then later on down the line having to do even more cardio. So it's better to always play it safe early on and start with a small amount, putting yourself in a small calorie deficit, and then as time goes on and body weight starts to plateau, we can always increase it from there. So our last pillar is nutrition, probably the most important factor with regards to putting ourselves in a calorie deficit. So fat loss occurs by being in a calorie deficit. We put ourselves in this calorie deficit by using nutrition, training, and cardio. We use our diet to create sustainable results that we can then put ourselves in a calorie deficit for a long period of time. For us to lose weight and achieve a physique transformation, we need to be in a calorie deficit, losing fat. Within our diet, we want to be making sure we're having a high protein intake across the day. This is going to help us preserve muscle mass, boost our recovery and growth, increase our satiety and help control hunger levels across the day, as well as raise the thermo effect of food, which is basically going to help us burn more calories in the day. So within our diet, we want to be making sure we are consuming a lot of whole foods, especially when in a calorie deficit. Whole foods generally keep us fuller and help control satiation, as well as having a better nutrient profile, which is going to be better for our health in the long term. The benefits come from improving our gut health and general digestion, eating whole foods versus processed foods. It also builds good habits in the long term. You know, when we eventually finish this physique transformation, we want to make sure we've built good habits and we don't go back to our old habits, which got us into the place where we used to be. One important factor about managing our food while being in a calorie deficit is our meal timing. We want to be spreading our meals out consistently throughout the day, eating every 4 to 5 hours, depending on how many meals we're having a day. This is going to help manage satiety, but also spike muscle protein synthesis throughout the day. It also gives us a good routine and allows us to stay consistent with these habits, not allowing us to fall off track. Managing hunger is probably going to be one of the biggest factors that allows us to achieve a physique transformation and continue to lose weight. By managing our hunger, it's going to allow us to stick in a calorie deficit and reduce the risk of overeating, going over our daily calories, which is going to put us in a calorie surplus. So if we can keep ourselves in a calorie deficit by managing our hunger, it's going to allow the process to be more sustainable and get consistent drops each week. Then we have hydration, which actually crosses over nutrition, expenditure, and weight training. Hydration is going to help support the muscle function, thus improve training performance. It's also going to help with cardio. By being hydrated when we're performing exercise, we're going to be able to perform better. Thus, we're going to be able to burn more calories when we train, but also when we do cardio. But also when we train, we can train harder because we're hydrated. If we can train harder, we can build more muscle. So being hydrated has a big crossover in achieving a physique transformation long term. Hydration also helps manage cravings, manage hunger, makes you feel fuller after you've eaten a meal and consumed some liquids. So these are the 3 pillars that are absolutely pivotal in achieving a physique transformation. If you can nail your diet, if you can nail your training, if you can nail your expenditure and find a plan that you can stick to for a sustained period of time, having total clarity on what you need to do every day, then it's just a matter of time until you achieve a physique transformation in your dream physique. If you like this video and you found the content valuable, please drop me a follow, subscribe, drop me a follow on Instagram, and give me a message if you've got any questions or any ideas of potential videos you would like or things that you are struggling in your current physique transformation journey.